everyone, and welcome to our Shitty Questions podcast. Here we have Unknown and Anton. Our night will be filled with shenanigans as we remember our shitty childhoods. Now, I just kind of want to start off the night with asking you two, from if you rate yourselves 1 to 10, how mischievous would you say you were when you were younger? Starting with Unknown.
Um, I would say about six or 5 or 6. I was like under the radar, but I got into some mischievous things.
Slightly above
And
average.
yeah, not enough to get in like bad trouble or anything, but well, some things had I got caught, sure. Um,
Gotcha.
Well, for me, uh, on paper, what people know about me, I'm like a 2. But what I actually did, I'm probably like an 8 or 9 because of everything I did without most people knowing.
I
Gotcha.
would say that's similar to me. Like, I was not like a good kid, not like the goody two shoes, but like, my parents were like, yeah, I got a decent kid, his head is on his shoulders. Um,
He's breathing.
but what they didn't know was I was sneaking out. Well, yeah, snuck out a couple times, but I was often just the worst of it, I guess, would be like trespassing and like smoking weed. Um,
Yeah.
I used to live not far from this golf course. I grew up in a shitty white trash trailer park for the most part. But out in the country, not a whole lot to do. And yeah, there was like this semi-private golf course that was nearby, and we'd have to walk down this like old gravel, not old, but just like this unpaved gravel like dirt road. And the only thing like blocking and it went to a dead end. So the only thing blocking like the dead end was just like barbed wire, and then boom, it was the golf course. And we had some friends that lived over there, and yeah, so we used to go skateboarding. We'd use like the golf trails to like go skateboarding down, or one time a friend and we'd had our own golf clubs, so we each bought a golf club and some golf balls, and like snuck onto the the golf course and like tried to just play a couple holes and see what it's like. And like some gardener or whatever like rolled up on us and was like, y'all don't need to be here, blah blah blah, and gave us this whole spill about
Ooh,
call your
the
parents
gardener.
or call the cops
So
for
scary.
trespassing. And we're just like, all right, man, whatever. And so we're just like, yes sir, yes sir. And then like we leave, we walk off, and at this point we're like pretty deep in the golf course, I guess. So on our way back, um there was like back towards the dirt road, there was one last course nearby. So we were like, let's try to sneak in a hole again. And so like, except we didn't play the whole course. We just like played around the hole and the flag and tried to like see if we could put some balls in. And like, sure enough, like 10 minutes later, we see him like off in the distance. So we like shoot off, we hightail it, and we like just run. We go to my buddy's house, which you could see the golf course from my buddy's house. We like knock on his door and nobody answers. So we're like, all right, fuck it. And we just kept walking. We get to the top of this hill and like we look back and like he's still just sitting there, like watching us. And like, so we're just like, we have a standoff. So like, we just stand at the top of the hill because I was like, we're just going to see what he does. Like, we weren't going to go back. And then like all of a sudden he like steps on the gas and it starts like he starts coming off the golf course. So we're like, oh shit. So we just like cut through the woods and ran. And then I want to say like made it back to my house. And then like 2 hours later, like a cop shows up, and I was like, how the fuck did they know where we
How'd he find
lived?
me?
Right. And thinking about it, we stopped by our friend's house and we think whoever, like when the guy called the cops or whatever, cops went there first and then they told the cops where I lived. And I was just like, damn. But yeah.
That
How
like
about you, Melissa? Did
Gardner,
you?
yeah. Well, just to say that Gardner like went above and beyond his job just to get you guys in trouble.
Right?
Maybe he just got some extra big stick up
I
his
mean,
ass.
like if you're in a job like that, like I would do the bare minimum to get my job done, but I would never go above and beyond for a golf course. That's just insane. I mean,
Right?
well, if I had to rate myself, um, I was depends what age. I maybe like I would say before the age of 13, I was maybe like a 3 in mischievousness, and then when I was like a teenager, I would say I was probably like a 7 or an 8.
Everybody has their
That's
rebellious
backwards.
age.
The rebellious age. Yeah. And of course, I mean, I got really clever with like ways of sneaking out. One thing I used to do is I'd get like an X-Acto knife, and then like you know how like the like your bedroom window has like a little net on the outside. I don't know if every window's
Hmm.
designed
Yeah.
like that, but yeah, I would cut around the netting, and then I would put Velcro on there. So, so when my mom wouldn't see like a giant hole. She would just still see the netting there and not like be able to tell that I snuck out. And then
Wow, that's smart.
yeah, but do you guys have like any mischievous ways you try to sneak out?
Well, for me, it was backwards. So before I turned, I think it was 13, I was very mischievous. So I just play it off like, oh, I'm going to a friend's house or I'm going to walk to school or do something. And then I just go find a way to get to the school roof or go and find something to destroy or steal for the most part.
Okay. Did
Hmm.
you how'd you sneak out of the house though?
For me, sneaking out of the house is pretty easy. Uh, so we wait until everyone's asleep and then you just go out the back door, but then you lock it, but you put a piece of paper right between the door slit. Like it's a firm piece of paper so the door can't click shut. So
Hmm.
you just lock it. So if they jiggle the handle, they know it's locked, but they don't try opening and closing it. So it stays in place. And then I can come back and push the door open and just walk back in.
I lived in a trailer, so it's relatively like my bedroom and like my parents' bedroom were like the opposite ends, but like I couldn't like if I snuck out, I'd have to like sneak out at the window. And luckily, I just knew how to like remove the netting, the screen from the window. So like remove it and then like replace it back. But luckily, where my room was, there was like the tongue of like or the trailer hitch where like when you move the trailer or something, that's where it hooks. So like I had support to like climb down. So like I could just climb out, put my foot on that and like climb down. But I remember staying at my friend's house one time and his dad was pretty chill and he'd let us do pretty much whatever as long as we just weren't being assholes. And I can't remember exactly what we did. I think we like got drunk or we got somebody to buy some alcohol or that we were just being stupid. And the next day he was like, "Man, y'all kept me up and heard y'all like sneak out." And we were like, "We didn't sneak out. We just walked out the front door."
It's like, there's no need to sneak out.
Well, another question I have for you guys, or another shitty question, I'd say is what was what was like the worst thing you ever did to like a bully or just somebody you just didn't like at school? I know, Anton, you have a good one. I could tell by that laugh.
Uh, so this kid was a douchebag, like to everyone. He even strangled me. Like like wrapped his arm like in a headlock, and then he tried choking me out over a fucking pencil. And so in retaliation, when he was outside playing and doing whatever the fuck he was doing, I went and took his backpack and climbed a 60-foot tall pine tree and stuck it at the top of it, and then walked home.
That would suck if he like did a fuck ton of homework and then like now he
Oh,
can't.
that bag was not light. It was like full of random shit. I don't know what was in it, but it was heavy.
Did he ever get it down?
But yeah, I don't know.
It's
I
still
never
there to
went
this
back to
day.
that pine tree.
Some say it still
It's
hangs.
become the school flag at this point.
Yes. I think one other time was the principal was kind of ass, so I snuck into the school during the summer, and he left the door unlocked like a complete dipshit. So I mean, it's his own stupid fault. And they were restocking the vending machine, so there was this candy everywhere. It's a child's like dream to see like I think it was like 70 or 80 Crunch bars in a box, and it was like, okay, these are all mine now. So I took them all, and I went and found the ladder to the school roof, and I sat up there, and I think I ate around 20 of them before I made myself sick. But while doing so, you could hear below the principal like running around the building trying to find them, and it was hilarious.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think I never really had like a specific bully, but I remember my freshman year of high school, there was this kid, and he was either like a junior or senior, and he was like a tall, lanky guy. But like he would always try to like mess with me. Like he would try and trip me or something, and I would just like walk over his foot. And one time we were playing dodgeball, and I was the last guy left on my team, and like all the balls like collected on like my side of the court, and like nobody could walk over. So I was like just slowly taking people out, or trying to at least. And like I was holding the dodgeball, and the dude just like punches it, and it hits me right in the face. So I just like charged him, and like the bleachers had been like pulled back, and like I just twirled around and like shoved him face first into the bleachers. And of course, like the PE coach was just like, "Hey, hey, hey, hey!" And like I immediately stopped what I was doing, but like I just looked at him. I was just like, "Don't fuck with me." And then like after that, he stopped fucking with me.
What do you mean, like he punched the ball? Like, did he just like hold it on his hand and give it a punch and it just whacked you?
Well, I was like holding it in my hand, and like I was getting ready to
Oh,
throw it, and like I like wasn't holding it back. I was still like holding it in front of my face, and like he just punched the ball while I was holding it, causing it to like rebound, like slip out of my hand, and like just hit me straight in the face.
Jesus, that guy was like really not happy with you that day.
Well, I mean,
Well, he
no,
was
he was
losing.
like, right, yeah, fuck that guy. I don't even remember his name. And then there was another
That
time
guy.
I was in middle school, and these kids kept like pretending like they were drawing on my back, and like I had a white shirt on, and what they were doing was they were just like taking their pen or their pencil and like doing it across like my back. And I kept just telling them to stop and shit. And then finally I was just like, fucking stop. And like I picked up a textbook and like turned around and like hurled it, and like the book went right by his face, and like hit a big metal cabinet in the back. And of course like some girl screamed, and the teacher was this old dude, and he was just like, no, 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 children, what's going on here? And told him what was up. And I think he sent me to the office. And like our vice principal, he was a pretty cool dude. I mean, he could have been in his 40s or whatever at the time, but he definitely seemed like he was older. Um, time's perspective. And I remember I got sent to the office, and he was like, "So what did you do this time?" Like I didn't go to the office much, but like I got sent to the office for like dumb reasons, and he'd always be like, "Boy, that's no reason to go to the office. Go back to class." And I was just like, "Yeah." I thought somebody was drawing on me. I threw a book at him, and he was like, "All right, well, sit here till the bell rings." And I was like, "Okay." Like that was it. I didn't get wrote up or like nothing bad happened. I was just like, he was just like, "Sit here."
Well,
Sounds
that's
like a
cool.
chill ass principal.
Oh yeah, he was pretty cool. Yeah, I could probably tell a couple of stories about him.
So for me, I don't know if this counts like as like a bully, but like there's this like science teacher I used to like hate. She was like a science teacher, and like I remember like one of the reasons why I didn't like her was because she showed the movie like the day after tomorrow, and she's like, "This is what's gonna happen if like global warming happens. Like this is gonna happen soon," and just like using it like as factual evidence. So I remember just telling her like this is stupid, and she like got angry, tried to kick me out of her class. But anyways, I just didn't like her for a lot of reasons, and one of the things that we did, because she used to have like a really filthy classroom, was we were having like hot dogs for breakfast that day, and I
Weird.
decided every before every class I would bring my breakfast in and I would just throw it at the sink, knowing that she would never clean it up, and like the rest of the day her room would smell like hot dogs and she wouldn't know where it came from. um that and yeah. Yeah, that and we like stole a bag of Starburst from her desk and like ate it in front of her. So yeah, she didn't like me very much.
So, what kind of school serves hot dogs for
I
breakfast?
don't know. It was like some sausage concoction thing.
Oh,
Okay,
it's like a
Uh,
corn
okay,
dog, but
I
it's
just
sausage.
remember just angrily like
yeah.
I didn't even set it on the sink. I just threw it and it just like the food went everywhere. And I would just kind of do that every day. I mean, I would either do that or we had this thing in class where we would try to see how many sticky notes we could put on a person's back. Typically, we'd aim for like someone we didn't like or someone that maybe we liked. And so, like the whole class period, we just like gently put one sticky note at a time until the end of the class, the person would get up and have like 50 sticky notes on his back. Those were good times.
Ooh,
I mean,
speaking of mischievous, sorry. Um,
go ahead.
so I'm pretty sure like my eighth grade class was the reason that like my school system or whatever school district like made the immediate switch from like paper grade books to online grade books because like a bunch of kids got together and they all stole like all the teachers like grade books for the year. And
Oh, I did that one.
so like nobody, and it was cool because like nobody ever fessed up to it, but like some of us knew who did it, but like nobody would just fess up to it. And then like I think within a few months they, I don't know if they ever actually caught the kids, but you know, when you're young, it feels like they never got busted. If they did, there wasn't a deal made about it. And
Yeah,
yeah, like the next year and like from then on out, they just swapped over to like online grade books.
that's cool.
Did you guys
I mean,
did you guys ever play with fire before?
uh, I can one up your fire to Thermite.
I mean, that
I
could work.
mean, yeah, I mean, I
I
guess
mean,
it's close enough.
I did want to tell a story. So when I was younger, we found an abandoned house. It wasn't just like an old abandoned house; it was like a newer one that where people just like kind of moved away, and we snuck to the back, and they left like a door open. So us being excited teenagers, we like ran in there and started breaking stuff, and some of the guys I was with ended up like graffitiing on the walls, and like it was just a mess. And like every day after school, we would go and hang out at this like abandoned house, and it was like the cool thing to do because it was like me and two other people, and like this was like our secret spot that no one knew about. And anyways,
Yeah.
one day, I came up with like the genius idea of like, maybe we should like have like a little campfire inside the house and try to roast some marshmallows.
Oh,
I know you can already see where this is going. So after school, I had some like marshmallows in my backpack, and we like got some sticks and like laid them in the middle of the living room, and we lit it on fire, and the fire started turning pretty big, and like I didn't know that like if you're in an enclosed space and there's smoke, you can't breathe. So
oh no.
so I just start coughing and like suffocating. The house is getting engulfed in smoke. So we just run out of there and we run as fast as we can, and we like hide in my house because I lived closest to it. And like maybe like a few minutes later, we see like the cops, like a bunch of police cars and like fire trucks drive by, and we're just like super paranoid. We were paranoid for like a week straight about it, but nothing ever became of it. So that's really good. The house didn't burn down, so my guess is like maybe the fire died out in the living room. But yeah, we didn't go back.
Guess you're taking that one to the grave.
That was the day I discovered that fire smoke is not the type of air you want to breathe.
It's not healthy. It's not good for you, kids.
Smoking is bad.
I
It's
mean, that fire pit was fucking awesome, and I was down to make those marshmallows, but yeah, I guess I wasn't that smart either.
I don't
Well,
think I've ever been directly responsible for something, I guess, of that magnitude. I know in the trailer park that I lived in, there was like a trailer that was the landlord's, and I think it was like a storage trailer. Like we once broke into that, and there was nothing interesting inside the house, and we were like, "Well, this is lame." But I do remember somebody seeing us, and like, of course, they called the landlord, and the landlord showed up, and yada yada yada, and we were just like, "Your house sucks, lady."
for me, uh, so I like to research weird topics in my free time. And I found out with a rusted nail, uh, a tin can, or not a tin, aluminum can, and the magnesium strip you can get from an old fire alarm. I really much ground down the aluminum can with the grinder, and with the rusted nail, I shaved off the rust to get iron oxide. And then with the magnesium strip, I stuck it on top and I lit it, and I almost gave myself third-degree burns from lighting thermite right next to my face without realizing it.
Oof.
Now, why were you trying to make thermite?
Oh, I was bored.
Well, I mean,
When I'm bored, I just it's just one of
what else
those
you got
things.
to do?
Yeah.
I've, for me, I remember when it comes to playing with fire, uh, when I found out like cologne is flammable, and or it was either cologne is flammable or like
The
the
Axe body
specific
spray.
cologne I had was flammable, and like I had a lighter, and like I would take the bottle, put the cap on, twist it up, turn it upside down, and like take the cap off, and then like because it was a metal cap, and then like I would light the cap, and um, I remember one time, of course I was dumb, and I did it inside my room, and then I realized that it smelled like burnt cologne, so I had to like raise my window, and I don't remember. I remember like my stepmom coming home and being like, "What's that smell?" And I was like, "Nothing." And and of course we would do the shit, what was it? Where you spray the axe on you and like set the axe
Oh,
on fire.
Oh, that was
Like
like the coolest thing ever. Homemade
right, we
flamethrower.
would like right? We would spray axe like from our feet all the way up to like our chests and our arms, and like you would light it at the foot, and then like you'd watch it just like light all the way up your body, and you're like, I'm on
Oh,
fire.
I didn't see that one. I thought you were talking about like the when you hold the lighter and then you spray it and it makes like that cool like reaction. I didn't know you can
Oh
like
yeah.
light yourself on fire with axe.
Oh yeah. I would like just spray it directly in my hand and like catch my hand on fire, and then like I had to put it out quick because that shit got hot.
Oh my
uh,
god. I need to see this now.
when I was uh, out camping, and this was like when I was out in Yellowstone. Yellowstone of all places, yes. This is where I built a fire. I think I like to pre-build my fires before I light them. So this one was out of sticks and some other bits and bobs I found around the campsite. I made a fire about I think it was 6 feet tall before it was lit, and then everything it had pine. It had every flammable substance you could find in Yellowstone in it, and it was right next to a pine tree. So when I lit it, it like went up in a huge flame, and the pine tree next to it was just like dangerously close, and I was eyeballing it like, oh fuck, I could have just burned down Smokey's forest.
And this is how wildfires happen. Don't play with fire, kids.
Yes.
Right? Don't do any gender reveal parties
Yeah,
that involve
that
Yeah.
too.
fireworks.
That too. But now that we're talking about, like mixtures and stuff, what is like, like when you're a kid and you like mix, like you ever got that kid at school that would like mix up all his lunch food together and then like you would dare him
Oh
to eat
yeah.
it? So what was like your weirdest like food concoction that you made as a kid?
Hmm. I have to think about that.
A single bread slice with a piece of cheese melted on top of it, with some jam slathered over the top of it.
Okay, I've heard of that.
So that would weird me out, except for recently, a friend of ours had told us about cheese and jam,
Yep.
but
Shout out to Moen.
it's it's still, I don't know, it still sounds weird to me. But yes, man, making some cheese toast, just get you a slice of bread, and then like pop that bitch in the oven and
Oh,
like
it's
let it
good.
melt the
Have you
cheese. Oh,
tried it,
it's
Unknown?
not the cheese and jelly, but just like cheese bread. Um,
You gotta
as
try
far
it.
as food concoctions go, I mean, I would do like the poor man snacks where like I'd be really high and get the munchies, and like I would just pull out a piece of bread and put some ketchup on it and just eat bread and ketchup.
I did that with
Um,
crack.
oh, when your mic cut out, it sounded like you said crack. I did that with crack. Um,
That's a whole nother podcast.
yeah, I've done that with crackers too. Um, damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. Something along the lines of yeah, ketchup and bread. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I remember one time as a kid, I put like ketchup on a brownie, and as weird as that may sound, it wasn't bad because it had a little bit of sweet and a little bit of salty.
Huh. Sounds intriguing. Like something that sounds interesting, but something I'm guaranteeing I'm not going to try.
I discovered mine like a weird way. So, one of my friends was having like a giant like give us like a dinner or something, buffet style at her house, and I noticed like they were making burgers and like they had like one section for the bread, one section for the meat and the cheese, whatever. And you just kind of grab it and make your own burger. And so I started serving it, and then I saw that like there wasn't tomatoes, but there was like a bowl of strawberries. And I thought you were supposed to put the strawberry in the burger. And I was just kind of like too shy at the time to like not do it. I thought you were supposed to, so I was like, okay, maybe this is a thing. So I grabbed the strawberries and I like put them on the burger and took a bite out of it. And oh my god, it goes really well. Like to this day, I still put strawberries on my burger. But yeah, I got a lot of weird looks, and
Interesting.
yeah, they definitely told me like, wait, why did you put strawberries on your burger? I'm like, I thought thought that's why you put them there. And they just start fucking laughing.
Oh man, that's great. Did you guys, what was your school like? So, Melissa, you said you got like hot dogs or whatever.
Yep.
What other like school breakfast items did you get? Did
Huh.
y'all get?
Well, let's see. My school had slushies. So,
What?
yeah, we had, I don't even know what
Answer.
flavor it was. It was like clear. And every time there was like a food fight or even just like a school fight, the staple was always the slushy. So like there'd be two girls fighting and like people would just throw slushies at them while they were fighting. And that was a staple. We had famous bowls, but they weren't from KFC, but like they were a lot better than KFC. I don't know. I feel like we had pretty good food, so I'm not
Hmm,
complaining. I do miss the famous bowls though, so one day I do have to replicate it.
interesting. I
Uh,
remember we had like, your generic breakfast. We'd have breakfast pizza, um, grits, eggs, but there was this one. Of course, they offered like cereal and other stuff, but there was this one that I specifically remember and loved so much. And they were just called breakfast bars. And it was like a battered, fried, like, okay, so it looked like a hash brown, like from McDonald's or whatever, like those kind of hash browns.
Yeah.
It looked like that, except it consisted of meat, egg, and cheese. And they were so good. And I would always without a doubt, every time they had them, I would always get double. And if I happened to smoke weed, I would get three of them. Um, but they weren't like very big, so they always served it with like a piece of toast. So when I bought two of them, or when I would get extras, I would just like make a sandwich out of it. Um, but I found out, or eventually found out that they served them literally every Thursday. So every Thursday was like um breakfast bar day. And those things, I tell you what, were so freaking good. And I wish I remember I found them once on the internet. I think I found like somewhere where I could order them, but like they're not like a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. How do you like? How do
it's
you
not
find
legend.
it like food that you once had at school? Because I know like we had like the grilled cheese sandwiches, which were like a favorite, but like I always like wonder like where do you find this food? Like, is it like the vendor or I don't know. It's always like some weird obscure brand.
Oh, right? Yeah. Yeah, working in like I could see, yeah, it's got to be coming from the vendor because working in like restaurants, um, and having done like food ordering before, um, like you get to see a catalog of like what, your vendor sells and like you're like, neat. I didn't know I could order that stuff.
Neato.
I used to
For
work at Domino's, and we used to do the school orders for one of our local high schools. So like every morning we'd have to wake up at like 7 in the morning and make like 500 pizzas for these kids.
Jeez.
Yeah, we'd be working hard. But the one thing is, like they weren't like Domino's pizzas. They were like the healthy version of it. So it would get like wheat dough
oh,
instead of like the regular dough. That tasted really good fresh out the oven. And then we had low fat cheese, low fat sauce, and then like these like pepperonis that were like flatter than your average pepperoni and like they looked dehydrated. And that's what we used to give the kids. Um
sounds sort of
yeah.
depressing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was depressing and like the one thing I would think of is like these kids are going to like eat this and be like this tastes like shit. Domino's fucking sucks.
I remember working at this one pizza joint, and they had like gluten. They had a gluten-free option, and it was such a pain in the ass. So like it was like this pre-made dough that was frozen, and when you work with pizza, you know, you got cornmeal or corn flour or whatever,
Oh yeah.
you're working with
Yeah.
some kind of gluten, and you would have to like dust off all the gluten off of you, like wash your hands up to your arms, and then like we had a separate line, or it wasn't even a line. It was just like in the walk-in cooler, um, was just like a small setup of like stuff that you just like. It was almost like making like a lunchable pizza. You had to like put your sauce on it. Like we had a separate bucket of sauce, and because of like how the dough was, it just felt like um, making a lunchable. But apparently, I never tried it, but apparently it was pretty disgusting.
Oh, actually, we had gluten free as well. It was like a crust and it was like hard as well. It was kind of like a shell. And yeah, you make it
Yeah,
exactly like Lunchable. You put the sauce, cheese, and whatever, throw it in the oven, and it tasted like cardboard. Not gonna lie. And yeah, it was very small and more expensive than your average pizza.
yeah.
Which
Why don't at that point? Why don't you just buy a gluten-free lunch?
Because people want to go out and
feels
enjoy
special.
their restaurant experience. Yeah.
Exactly.
Bring the fucking lunchable into the restaurant. Be like, this is what I'm eating, bitch.
You know what though? We did used to bring Lunchables and like put in like our store's sauce and cheese and like put it in our work oven and we'd like make mini Lunchable pizzas with different toppings.
Nice.
It was a luxury.
This one pizza
Sounds good.
joint I worked at um, had like for a little while had like a secret like menu thing. Um, and I know it's not exactly nationwide, but there's a fast food place called Raising Cane's, and they just sell like chicken tenders, or
I
for any
love Raising
listeners,
Cane's.
Cane's, Zaxby's, something like Zaxby's, or some other kind of chicken joint, and it was just yeah, chicken tenders, fries, coleslaw, toast, sauce, and so we had a secret menu item that if people went to Cane's and ordered like the box combo or whatever, which came with like four strips, fries, toast, and sauce, and they came back over to our restaurant, we would make a pizza out of it. So the only thing they paid for was the crust and the cheese, which we would still charge them like $10. But yeah, so we would just like make the pizza, use the cane sauce as like the base, and then
Yeah.
chop up the tenders, the fries, and even the toast if the people wanted to. And if they got the coleslaw, we'd throw that on there too. And then like top it off with like cheddar, cheese, and mozzarella. Man, that thing was so
Wait,
good.
sorry, but so is was corporate okay with this, or is this like something as like you employees just did for the customers just because why not?
So eventually, we did get a cease and desist letter
Oh, okay, yep. I was like wondering when that would come into effect.
because we weren't like outright selling it or like um
Advertising it.
advertising it, but it was like if you know, you know, because it did start with an employee doing it, and yeah, eventually they caught wind and sent a cease and desist, and I said that backwards, but I think one time I made it, and it was only made it for the employees, and I was like, yeah, but just call it fried chicken or chicken fried pizza, and I was like, we can't call it what we used to call it, which we would just call it Cane's Pizza.
So did they
Chicken.
did you guys have to stop making that kind of pizza or like just change the name?
Well, if I think it was up to the manager, or basically, yeah, we just couldn't make it. I mean, if they found out that we were still making it for customers, so like if a customer came in and wanted us to do that, we would have to deny them.
Oh, I bet they were so bummed out.
And I guess if like even if we did like change the name or whatever, um, then yeah, I guess if they still found out that we were doing that, they could sue or whatever.
Why would they sue you over pleasing the customer? It's like sounds so backwards.
It's probably has something to do with like intellectual property and
Yeah, copyright
just
shit.
right. And maybe it would lead to us possibly stealing a recipe and then like making our own chicken fried pizza or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
Because
know about you guys, but I don't care enough about pizza to start my own pizza joint over some chicken fried pizza.
what's funny is this was like a privately owned like pizza shop, and it only had 2 locations.
Yeah.
Dang, I
So
want
yeah,
some pizza right now.
when a corporation tells you to stop, you stop.
Unfortunately, that's true. You could keep going, but then you might get fined. Then you're SOL'd.
Right.
Did did you guys okay, so going back on the questions here. Did you guys ever like have a moment or like an oh shit that actually worked moment?
For me, actually, I was it was that Thermite I was talking about earlier. Because I didn't think that would work. Like, I was just dinking around with random bits and bobs. And I'm like, oh, hey, that's interesting. So I tried it, and it actually worked. And I'm like, oh, shit. It singed off, I think, my eyebrows when it finally worked. And I was just like, oh, shit, that worked. Not going to do it again, but it worked.
Man, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Um,
I mean, at this let's do an adult one. I have one where I was working at the pizza place and yeah, I we decided to make a chocolate cake. So what we did was we grabbed like those, those deep pan pizzas and then we just found like we got a bunch of like chocolate lava cakes and just like layered with it. And then we got like a cup of icing and poured that over, threw it in the oven, and like not exactly, we weren't sure what to expect in this situation, but like when it came out, it like kind of looked like a chocolate cake, but like a really disgusting looking chocolate cake. But like when we cut into it and everything, it was like eating a chocolate cake. So we were like, oh shit, that actually worked.
hmm.
Ooh.
Mm, yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
What about like something
Um,
that, going back on like the concoctions of mixing things? Did you ever like mix certain foods? Or like, oh shit, that actually worked.
I'll tell you what didn't work.
Let's listen to that.
As a kid, you tend to you want to do stuff like that. You want to mix and match, and or the old suicide quote unquote drink where you
Oh,
mix all
yeah.
the drinks from the soda machine or the fountain machine. And so, being young and dumb and just trying out different things, I decided what would it taste like if I mixed Sunny D with milk
Ew.
Ah, that sounds.
and wasted, a glass of milk and Sunny D because that did not taste good at
Was it
all.
like a potion?
Um, it was weird.
It'll make you fly.
You could see like it wasn't combining, and you could see like the orange swirling like in the milk, and thinking about it makes me kind of like and of
Nauseous.
course at the time it was definitely like, oh, I wonder what this tastes like, and it was just immediately just
I bet like the juice was like sitting on top. Ew.
right.
I did
Yeah.
something like that. I was eating a thing of cottage cheese and I put too much pepper in it because I like pepper in my cottage cheese. but then I put too much pepper, like to the point where it wasn't edible. So I went and looked up a way to like balance out pepper, and the only thing I had was lemon juice. So I have this whole tub of over peppered cottage cheese, and then I stick in lemon juice, and ugh, like just that will never happen again.
That sounds
It did
Yeah,
not.
absolutely disgusting.
No.
I used to so back then I used to not be able to know the difference between like sour cream and butter and all that. And so every morning my parents used to have like like the butter with jam. And one I for some weird reason thought that you were supposed to use sour cream. So I mixed like sour cream and then put jam on top, and it was fucking disgusting. And, that have to be like the nastiest concoction I've made.
I feel like sour cream on regular toast would taste fine, but maybe yeah, once you throw in the jam or the jelly, it's not so good.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't doubt if I like used mayonnaise a few times by accident.
But is mayonnaise an instrument? Um,
I do want to make time because like I know we like talking about food, and there's always like that new cool like food that comes out that everybody wants to try out. I know last week it was like the Coca-Cola with coffee,
oh, you're
and
right.
yeah, and the newest craze that I've heard of is the Lady Gaga Oreo cookies. Finally bought a batch today, and I have to say it kind of tastes like a regular Oreo, but like maybe not as chocolatey.
Hmm.
Yeah.
When you say not as chocolatey, it kind of makes me want to try them, but also hearing that they cost more than regular Oreos kind of makes me not want to get them. But I definitely would like if I knew somebody who had some, I would obviously would definitely be like, hey, let me try some. But I don't know
I was gonna say like a
based off of
vanilla
your
cookie.
opinion,
Maybe it's like a
because if
vanilla.
it's what
Yeah.
isn't the cookie pink?
Yeah, it's pink. So I was thinking it would taste like fruity or like a strawberry. I guess now that I think about it, maybe it's not like a chocolate Oreo. It tastes like a vanilla Oreo.
Okay,
I don't know if this
yeah.
is like a permanent thing or this is just like a temporary little sponsor that they're doing. But I don't know. I personally didn't think it was worth it.
Did you know that Oreo wasn't the first of its kind? There was actually another brand, and I forget what it's called, but they were the
Oh,
first
I
ones to do the cookie cream sandwich type thing,
think I remember.
and Oreo was just the one that got popular from it.
And then they like did some weird copyright things with it, and it's like, yeah.
Something like that. There's a video on it. Shout out to Company Man on YouTube. If y'all have never like heard of his stuff or whatever, he's got some interesting videos. He always talks about like different brands and businesses and why they're popular or like the rise and fall of like certain brands or businesses.
Is Mr. Pibb on
Maybe.
there? Just joking. I wanted to do a shout out to Nubs because I know he's gonna listen to this, and
Oh,
he was
right.
not too happy about our Mr. Pibb comparison. So I think we should settle it and say that Mr. Pibb is a watered down version of Dr. Pepper. I just want to throw that out there because I know he was upset, and we never.
That's a big fuck you to Nubs.
Well, we never corrected it, so I just want to throw that out there for Nubs. And if you're listening, Nubs, I hope you're enjoying work, and don't be mad at us, please.
We-
I was just gonna say I'm definitely gonna have to try out or taste the Mr. Pibb again, or Pibb Extra as it is now.
Yeah, we got to try it out, but we cannot compare it to Dr. Pepper. Just can't
Wait,
do
can't
that.
I just get some Dr. Pepper and just put some water in it and call it a Mr. Pibb?
Oh if Knuckles says that's okay.
He's
All
gonna
right,
be
guys.
so
Well,
mad.
that about wraps it up for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. We enjoyed having you here, and try to give us some suggestions.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, and some more shitty questions we can talk about. But bye, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.